Today we're visiting one of my favorite islands of Wisconsin. It's Washington Island, just off the northern tip of Door County. We'll visit some of the historic places and beautiful scenery in the area. Hey everybody, we're the Wisco Wheeler YouTube channel. Join us and we hope to inspire you to make your time with us in Wisconsin the best day in Wisconsin. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on our next adventure. Look at the long lines for the ferry. I love going there, and so does everyone else when it's hot and humid in Wisconsin. You'll be able to cool down probably 10 to 20 degrees once you're over on the island. If you take your car fit on the ferry, be sure to hit the upper deck and have a seat up there. It has a great view and a cool breeze on your way over to the island. You'll be crossing a section of water that's called Death's Door. It has a reputation for rough waters that can become unpredictable and become rough at any moment. For more than 75 years, the Washington Island Ferry has made it possible for visitors to safely cross Death's Door. As you exit the ferry, you'll see a welcome center with information about the island. You'll also see the cherry train there, ready to welcome visitors and take them across the island on their tours. If you brought your car, you can go right ahead and drive around on your own. But if you didn't, the cherry train is a great option. You can see many people like to ride bikes. Today, we happen to bring our mopeds. There's also a place to rent mopeds in the area. Our first stop was to head over to the Fragrant Lavender farm. It smells so good, and when the breeze is headed in the right direction, you can smell it for a mile or two away. I was told that they have about 20,000 lavender plants there throughout the gardens. You'll see people walking through the gardens and just enjoying the Fragrant Lavender farm. It's a great place to take either a selfie or maybe a little bit more formal portrait if you're in tune to that. There are certain days when they are running a lavender distillery, and they have that right on site where they will show you how that is done. After that, we got back on the mopeds and we came to an area in the center of the island that was set aside, and it was called the Mountain Park Steps. They had steps that you could go up and get a really great look overview. At the time we were there, they were under repairs though. Another great place is to run over to is to the Jackson Harbor. It's fun to see all the local boats and everything that's going on there. I believe it's also where you get the ferry to go over to Rock Island. Something that I thought that was really unique was they had a historic fisherman's cottage there. Now at first when I saw this, I thought, is this somebody's house or is this really what it says on the sign, a museum? So I walked up to the door and looked inside, and I wasn't quite sure. As I looked around a little bit, I guess I determined that it really was a museum, and so I went inside. It was just simply amazing. It was set up exactly as a fisherman's cottage would have been, probably, I'm going to guess, in the 1930s or the 1940s. It was so fun to look at and so authentic. What a great place to be. If you're ever in that area, be sure to take a look. It's a great representation of what life probably was like if you were there fishing at a cottage in those days. As you drive around the island, you'll find quite a few places that have public access down to the water. This particular one, we walked down and then we came across this thing called the witness tree. So in the beginning of white man's occupation of the island, the U.S. government had to establish primary survey points. They used wooden posts, but in the damp climate, they would rot. And so nearby trees were marked as witnesses and noted on the surveyor's log. Now we're on to the Nelson's Bitters Hall. This was a place that had dancing, and they also had the first cinematography on the island. This is a great place to stop for food and drink, and you'll even get to see the movie projector. That was back from the 1800s. Now, Nelson's Hall is famous for their bitters pub. Why? Back in Prohibition, the sale of alcohol was banned from 1920 to 33. Tom Nelson, a Danish immigrant, built the hall in 1899, but he wasn't about to close his doors. He applied for and was granted a pharmacist's license to dispense bitters as a stomach tonic for medicinal purposes. Oh yeah, since Angostura bitters is 90 proof, it's safe to say that it served as more than a cure for stomach aches. Now I'll tell you, I wasn't really up for this, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that our waitress talked us into it. It's nothing like I have ever experienced before in my life, and I certainly would suggest that if you're on the island, you've got to try it. Besides, you get that certificate that says you did. I've got to add, their specialty burgers are fabulous and a great representation of Wisconsin. They're full of great beef and cheese and even onion rings, along with some onions and tomato. Certainly worth the stop when you're ready for lunch. There's plenty of places to eat on the inside, or if you want to eat out on their porch, there's room too. As you look across the street, you might see the Viking train or one of the tour trains, and you can also stop into the mercantile that is across the street. It's a great place if you're looking for a t-shirt or another souvenir to pick up to take home, but they have a huge selection of shirts there for you. One of the other favorite things that I love to get there is fudge. On to the Stavkirk Church. So I have been on Washington Island many times and could never find it. The church that you see in the picture here is directly across the street from the entrance to the church. There's a small parking area on the side of the road where you can take the path that leads down to the Stavkirk Church. Washington Island has a great replica of a Stavkirk church based on the drawings of one that was built in Norway. This represents the heritage of many of the islanders. Once you get inside, you'll see the beautiful woodwork and huge attention to detail that was done. Our next museum that we stop at is the Jacobsen Museum. In this area, you can view the Thorstein Veblen study cabin dating to 1916. He is the most significant economist of his time and the author of The Theory of the Leisure Class. The remaining cabins of Jen Jacobsen. Jen Jacobsen was born in Denmark and came with his family to Washington Island. He arrived as a 14-year-old immigrant, and today we can visit the cabin that his family preserved and donated to the town. Now we're off to what I think is one of the most beautiful beaches in the entire world. We're at Schoolhouse Beach on Washington Island. It is one of 5 beaches in the world like it, and it's part of the Niagara Escarpment. You can see that it's full of these round, smooth, flat rocks. They cover the beach land area as well as the water as far as the eye can see. It's a great place to spend a fun day just laying on the beach and watching people have fun in these rocks. What you'll see are these stone creations that people make, art sculptures. You'll see them along the beach. People stack the stones. Some are even in the water. It's a beautiful place. Just remember, you are not allowed to take any of the rocks home with you. I can't think of a better place to spend a nice, warm, sunny summer day than at Washington Island. Well, now it's time to get back on the ferry. Just remember, be cognizant of the times that the ferries does leave because there are only so many for the day. You can see that heading back to the mainland, our water is a little bit more turbulent than when we came. Shows you a little bit of how Death's Door, the corridor, can become a little bit choppier during the day. Don't let that stop you. It's a great place to go.